So, there's a game called Ladykiller in a Bind. It's about BDSM. I really don't want to pay attention to this game, but then this game has been oddly promoted by lots and lots of mainstream game journalists like PC Gamer, Game Industry Biz, Gamma Sutra, Polygon, Kotaku, The Mary Sue. Okay, the last two are very questionable. Why would The Mary Sue promote a game about sex when their site very much condemns fan service and sexuality in animes? Kotaku even went on so far as to wanting to not only want fan service animes like Keijo to die in obscurity, but also censoring said fan services because the author didn't like it. This is out of character for Kotaku and the Mary Sue, so I don't understand why this is a thing that they would approve all of a sudden. Now, the thing is, believe it or not, I actually wanted to play this game, mostly because I have to admit I find the concept interesting. This is a BDSM sex game involving lesbians. I love myself some Yuri, and I think this game would be for me. However, the game is $30 on Steam, $26 at the time of writing due to discount. For a visual novel that looks alright, I don't think $30 is something worth of admission. I can have better deals with Clannad or Fruit of Griseia. They're more expensive, but at least they're better. At least they have multiple routes and their stories are well written and their artwork is good. Hell, Neko Para is $10. So from the price tag alone, the game already has problems. But the thing is, I want an honest observation and an honest look on the game's content, which unfortunately at this very moment we don't get a lot of. This game is apparently a nominee on Independent Game Festival for narrative, so it must be good, right? Now, the one site that I put my trust on this entire thing, and the one site that gives this sort of game reviews, is a site called Lewd Gamer, which I highly recommend, and it's obviously not safe for work. It's one of the go-to sites of hentai game reviews, and I would ask them and any of their staff to actually review this game and have a critical observation on it, because it's a sex game on Steam, and it is uncensored. They only published 2 articles on this game, but none of them are reviews. Now, to their credit, and yes, I cannot believe I'm giving Kotaku credit on this, Kotaku has also published an article about how hentai games on Steam are being censored, including Honeypop and Neko Para, and yet somehow they're allowing Ladykiller in a Bind to be released completely uncensored. Now here's the thing, Honeypop does have the ability to uncensor the game with a rather simple trick, provided by none other than the game developers. I want developers to do more of this. If game developers are forced to censor their game, I want them to leave the original assets inside the game and make it so that hackers can actually access it and uncensor the living hell out of it. That's what Honeypop did. Neko Para does not have that ability. It requires you to buy the original version, which is pretty difficult to find. These games struggle to get away from censorship, but why does Ladykiller in a Bind got released completely uncensored without any resistance from Steam? Also, I find it incredibly ironic that a website that constantly harps on sexism in gaming puts these texts in big marks. If the public can handle gruesomely violent video games, they can probably handle illustrated pictures of people having sex. You know, I would also argue that about sexualized characters in video games as well, don't you think? Now, browsing into Steam, and you'll find out that the game is received very positively at this moment, which is totally cool, but there's something rather odd here. The most helpful review of this game has the approval rating of 56%, and it goes to a downward spiral ever since then. The positive reviews came from the people who played it for about 2.2 hours, but to be fair, the reviewer said that the version being played here is the humble version, which was released last year in October, but that doesn't answer the disproportionate approval rating. It could be just disagreements on opinions, but it could also be that the reviewer is not honest with this entire thing. And now we get into the part that I really want to talk about. Do you know why this game is released uncensored on Steam while other games like Neko Para and Honeypop have to be censored? Do you know why the mainstream gaming press oddly celebrates this fact when at the same time they also celebrate Dead or Alive Extreme 3 for not being released in the West, which doesn't even have any sex scenes? Because the developers of this game have connections with the mainstream press. Here's an article documenting a conversation between Christy Love, the developer of this game, and Nathan Grayson, the writer of the celebratory article on Kotaku. This isn't even the first time. On Deep Freeze, if you just search the word Christine, she appears 5 times with multiple documented collusions between her and a lot of other writers. This game is obviously getting preferential treatment from the gaming press, and just from this alone, I can assume that the game is probably not worth shilling anyway. Now, this kind of shows a rather huge issue in the gaming industry that we have today. Now, I have to again give credit to these people in the hipster cliques to actually want to make their own game. That's perfectly fine. I endorse that. Go make your own games and go be creative in your own ways. What I don't endorse is the one thing that turns me off of this game entirely. It's not only the price tag, but the fact that this game cheats its way through. There are a lot of game developers that are struggling to get the games uncensored on Steam. And yet this game gets preferential treatment. It's all thanks to the collusion that is happening in the gaming realms and people having connections and absolute nepotism being put on display. It's almost like competition isn't a thing anymore. It's a lost art. It's absolutely sickening that these games are getting through easy processes of recognition. And if games have to cheat its way through, it's probably not a good game in the first place. Now, before you guys say, oh, I'm just giving this game attention, you're just contradicting yourself, I don't care. I really don't care if this game becomes successful because this game has been released on Steam and it's willing to compete with games like Nekopara and Honeypop. Good luck with that. I have no problems with people having fun with this game. Good for them. I don't have problems with this game becoming successful thanks to people having fun with this game because that is a good thing. More gamers having fun with good games? Who wouldn't want that? I do have problems with people not reporting what's actually behind the scenes. I do have problems with people not being honest. For example, not giving disclosures that, hey, this indie game developer that I promote in my article is actually a friend of mine. I don't have a problem with this game being legitimately good or being legitimately successful. I have problems with cheating and dishonesty. That's my concern with this entire thing. And you know very well how gamers hate those pesky cheaters. This is my problem with game developers these days. They don't trust their product enough to speak for itself. They have to cheat their way through it. To all game developers out there, and I'm going to extend this to my viewers as well, I'm going to ask you a question. What is more important? Your success or your reputation? Are you willing to risk the love that you give to your audiences for a temporary success in exchange for eternal hate and distrust? What do you think? That's all for the video today. If you like this, you can go ahead and click the like button and subscribe for more if you wish. You can support me on Patreon. And thanks for watching.